A massive thank you to Gadden, Lowe, Lewis, Cody, Matt and Robbie for subscribing to the channel. If you're not featured in these clips, make sure you subscribe down below. Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 12 of season 6 of the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. Yes, episode 109 of this series. But of course, if you missed out on the last video that went live a couple of days ago from the Belgian Grand Prix, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. Of course, 5 races to go now of this 6th season of this career mode, and things are certainly heating up at the top of the championship. So that is your warning for spoilers before we dive into this one today. But I just quickly want to say a massive thank you to all of you guys as well. We have now smashed through 40,000 subscribers, which is just mind-blowing to me. You know I say it a lot, but just the continued support you guys have been showing over the last few months, it is so massively appreciated. Now, first big goal here on YouTube in 2022 hit. Now we're aiming for 50k. That is the big one this year that we're going for. So, if you're not already, please do leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well for daily Formula 1 related content as well here. But yeah, 5 races to go though of Season 6. Championship-wise, 8 points. Now the gap between myself and Max Verstappen after a brilliant race last time round at the Belgian Grand Prix there. Constructors-wise, just 3 points between ourselves and Red Bull as we head in towards, this is the last race of the European leg of the year. Then, of course, we set off flying around for the last few championship rounds. You can see, though, the win last time around, really what we needed. Obviously, we'd been on a little bit of a dry spell, hadn't won any races since the French Grand Prix. Thereafter, Verstappen had won 2 in a row, and then, of course, came second in Belgium. But yeah, 5 races to go. We head to Monza today, of course, the Temple of Speed. Often has not been a track that suits Red Bull very well, but we've had next to no luck around this track on F1 2021. Fingers crossed that can change today. Well, here we are then, back at the Temple of Speed in Monza, and I feel like, yeah, the bad luck already looks set to continue here. We're just about to start doing our first run in free practice, doing the track acclimatization run, and immediately it started raining here. But yeah, Temple of Speed, though, feels good to be back at Monza once again. Of course, yeah, dry tyres on a dampening track, still doing well over 220 miles an hour before we head in towards turn 1. But I don't think we're going to be able to get the purple score here, just because the game's not very good at sort of telling when track conditions are changing. Actually did get a couple of greens, though, through those first couple of corners. But yeah, practice might be a little bit of a write-off here, but we'll see if we can try and get this first goal. Yeah, I think the only chances we're going to be able to get some purple scores on this lap are just if we end up with a flat-out section of circuit there. But we've got purple in the DRS zone, so of course the game's expecting me still to brake at the dry lines. Actually got another purple score there halfway through Ascari, but yeah, should be a green score still. It already is, in fact, the green score, which I guess isn't too disappointing. But yeah, Monza, all about just learning sort of about the curbs again. I'm so used to the older games so you can attack the curbs around here, most notably down at the second chicane, which you can't do anymore. But yeah, still a green score to kick off the weekend. Formula 1 is finally back in 2022, and now you can rep your favourite teams. Of course, using the F1 store, every team now has merch lineups available, whether you're an Aston Martin fan, a Williams fan, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull. The choice is completely up to you. But yeah, check out the F1 merch store down below for all the official releases from all of the teams. And of course, as always, if you use our links as well, you massively help support the channel. So yeah, give it a look and see if there's anything you like. Right, well, here we are then, qualifying day, and it looks like the rain is not meant to return for the rest of the GP weekend here at Monza, so fingers crossed, yeah, nice, clean, tidy running. This is, of course, now being recorded after the 1.17 update, so as well, you can kind of hope now that lap cars aren't going to be such a nightmare to try and deal with on F1 2021. I'll believe it when I see it, however, as we're going to obviously jump straight into Q2 on our first lap on a set of mediums there. I always forget just how stupidly late you can brake into turn 1 now with these cars. You're probably going to be looking, if you're a properly decent driver. Of course, I'm not. Yeah, you can probably get the thing slowed down from about 90 metres in towards the first corner. 220 miles an hour down to about 60 in 90 metres, which is just mind-blowing to me. But yeah, let's just wait and see those we head around this lap, of course. Like I said, on the medium tyres, their top guy's running sort of low 17s, high 16s. Oh, big wobble there to try and put the power down out of the second Lesmo. But yeah, let's just wait and see what we can do here. I think this lap probably going to be an 18, based on especially how sloppy it's been, as Guan Yu Zhou immediately goes fastest there. Don't say that too often in Formula 1. Gasly, there we go, back into the 16s for our teammate. He was fastest at the end of Q1. We need him back and fighting over these last few races of the year here. You know, Red Bull are certainly put up on a stern challenge against us at this stage of the campaign. But round in the final corner, like I said, I reckon this is going to be an 18, which it is, an 18-2. So we need about another second, but that should easily be doable. Heading out of Ascari then, you can see finding bags of time as we head down in towards the final corner of the lap. Into the Alboreto curve we go. Tipped it in a bit too early there on the way in, but I said we need to find a second, and we're pretty much going to do that. Of course, this is the old set from Q1. Puts us back up into P3 there, but still half a second away from Pierre. He's looking mighty fast this weekend. Of course, we will do one more run, though, on a fresh set, and hopefully find just a couple of extra tenths. Of course, this final lap, then, is more about just making sure we start the race on the best set of tyres there. Do not want to start on tyres that have already done Q2 qualifying runs. But yeah, we don't need we don't need much time at all, but we definitely need to just find a little bit. Let's look at that, down in towards turn 1. No way should he be able to stop a Formula 1 car that late. It goes against every fibre of my body is telling me to brake earlier in towards turn 1. You have to completely relearn how to drive in a car this fast. Heading out of Ascari, little bit of a mistake that time around. We're going to drop a tiny bit of time as we head down towards the final corner, but this could actually be quite a good battle between myself and Pierre this weekend. There was actually, surprisingly, a pretty decent run at the Alboreto curve. Thought I'd bottle that up towards the line, though. It is going to be a 16.8 there, 15 thousandths behind Pierre. This car around this track is fast. We go then, the end of Q2. It is 2-2 Motorsport on top there. Verstappen, though, in P3 ahead of Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc there. But Lance Stroll in his Aston Martin, as well as Carlos Sainz, Ferrari's home race there, out in Q2. But yeah, just 0.8 of a second separating the top 14 there in qualifying. Half a second between the top 10. So we actually would have been pretty close to getting knocked out in Q2 there, had we not found that lap. But yeah, Pierre versus me then. Who's going to put it on pole, or will Red Bull spring a surprise? We're about to set ourselves up then for our first lap here in Q3. Actually trying to run a little bit wide there, short ship back into 6th, and then squirt the throttle out of the final corner. Let's just see what sort of lap time we can get here. That Q2 run felt pretty good, apart from a small mistake on the exit of Ascari. I honestly think like a 16.6 would be doable around here, as that was all just a little bit too late down towards turn 1. Horrible run on the exit as well. They actually try to fight back for time, but this lap immediately is going to reside itself probably in a mid-17. That gives us a good delta to chase. Well, apart from getting a pretty good run through Ascari, Bottas out of nowhere onto a 16.8. Where is that lap time come from the Flying Finn as we head around the final corner up towards the line there? I think this is going to probably be about mid-17 at the very best. Gasly seems to have bottled his first lap as well there, and that was still a 17.1.
A lap of fuel now. The tank is empty.
Despite the issues down at turn 1 there, the rest of the lap, yeah, like I said, pretty hooked up. But we can definitely put this thing towards pole, as currently McLaren now 1-2 out of nowhere. It's 2021 real life all over again. Right, it is now or never then here in qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix. And looks like pretty much everyone else has done their final runs. We're going to need some sweat mode here if we want to try and put this thing on pole. So difficult. Try and hook up a lap when it matters around this track, because speed is absolutely everything, and you desperately want to try and chase for just a little bit more. Let's really concentrate. 3.6 miles of very historic tarmac. Let's see if we can nail it. A little bit early on the anchors in towards turn 1, but we guide the car into the apex. Clip the sausage curb though through turn 2, but still finding a bit more time over our first run there, and immediately 0.2. That is pretty critical. Qualifying is now over though. This will be the last run of the session. Not too bad through the Lesmos there, but certainly not as aggressive as I would normally like. And it's the second half of the lap we absolutely nailed last time round. Bit of a blender throttle there to try and get the best run out of Ascari. We're still quarter of a second up though. This could still be close to the front row of the grid as long as we nail the final corner. Get it towards that apex, 6th gear on the way out. Right the throttle as we head up towards the line. We are going to find 3/10. It's not quite going to be pole, but it's going to be pretty good. It's P2. We split the McLarens. That's what we needed.
And with qualifying complete, let's review our top 3 today. Ricciardo, Mr. Monaco and Valtteri Bottas. With qualifying wrapped up, we now have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Well, there we are then, the end of qualifying for the Italian Grand Prix there, and it is Daniel Ricciardo who puts it on pole position there. But look at that, 4 cars separated by just half a tenth there at the end of the day. We slot in on the front row there ahead of Bottas and Sergio Perez. Verstappen down in 6th, Gasly down in 10th place though, so certainly a bit of a mix-up towards the front of the field there. But yeah, we need a good clean race today. McLaren, I'm hoping, aren't going to be such a big threat come race day. Let's dive in then here to the Italian Grand Prix.
We're back in Italy once again for another round of the Formula One World Championship. And what a great race is in store for us today here at the oldest circuit on the calendar. Monza hosted its first race all the way back in 1922. With top speeds reaching 215 miles per hour, only a few places can challenge Monza's crown as the fastest circuit in F1. Hard braking zones going into the 3 chicanes make up the majority of the 11 corners on this 3.6 mile circuit. And just in case the slipstream wasn't enough, 2 DRS zones will help encourage some closer action. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat, Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching for as they go down into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Daniel Ricciardo has a clear view ahead from pole position, and Mr. Monaco completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Perez, Yuki Tsunoda, and Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Zhou, and Pierre Gasly, Stroll, Latifi, Carlos Sainz, and Russell, Ocon, Aitken, Callum Eilert, and Antonio Giovinazzi, Lundgaard, Mazepin, Schwartzman, and Mick Schumacher. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
This is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix. Let's give them a race worth watching.
Right, well here we are then, back in Monza, and like the team have just said, this is in fact of course Ferrari's home Grand Prix, so fingers crossed we can give them something to smile about today. They don't think Ferrari are quite going to be at the front of the field this weekend, and I can't imagine we're going to rely on Alfa Romeo or Haas to deliver much either here, so we are probably Ferrari's best hope for a Grand Prix victory today, and starting on the front row, fingers crossed that we can live up to that. Not only for them, but of course for our own championship as well. They're 8 points, the gap between myself and Verstappen as we head into this one. But 27 laps then around the Temple of Speed. Looks like, unlike the last couple of Belgian Grand Prix we've had, it shouldn't be any dramatic weather changes in this one. It's just going to be sunny skies here for the Italian GP. But let's dive into it then. Daniel Ricciardo starting on the pole, of course, with some Italian heritage as well. I'm sure he'd love to win today. 5 red lights. And it's going to be lights out and away we go. Actually, one of my better starts in F1 2021 there, as Perez has nailed it as we head down towards turn 1. Ricciardo's just going to try and cover off in towards the first corner here. But, oh, Checo! He's almost done what Max Verstappen did in real life last year there. I think walloped the inside curb and almost flicked himself out into me off the start there. Looks like, speaking of Verstappen, he's had a good start in this Grand Prix, straight up into P4 from 6th on the grid, so he needs to be aggressive here. I don't know if we're going to see any sort of Red Bull team orders this weekend, but got to try and get the tyres up to temperature, everything like that. I guess the real driver, you could say, that did pretty well off the start there is actually Daniel Ricciardo, as I'm wondering whether we picked up a little bit of front wing damage there from that contact with Sergio. Not 100% sure there. Looking like the right-hand side might just have picked up the tiniest little bit of damage. We'll have a look as we head in towards Ascari. Car feels pretty okay, actually, by the looks of it. Might just have a tiny little bit, you know, maybe one end plate has been chipped or something like that. But as we come towards the end of lap 1, though, just got to try and get used to heavy fuel, everything like that as well, of course. Got, what's 50 litres of fuel rather than 5 or 10 that we were running in practice and qualifying. But yeah, Ricciardo sets the way then at the end of lap 1. Perez has dived into the pit, so he definitely picked up damage then from that incident. But like I said, don't think we really did anything wrong. There's a nice double lock up in towards the first corner. But yeah, Ricciardo leads the way then, ahead of myself and Max Verstappen there. We're in a former Red Bull duo sandwich. Ricciardo goes fastest again, but we don't go faster.
We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Verstappen, though, on the other hand, goes half a second clear of myself at the end of the second lap there, so he is looking fast early on. We need to try and close up, get some DRS off Daniel Ricciardo, because I think we should have enough top-end speed to defend from Max. That Red Bull, yeah, not the fastest car down the straights, but has got everything you could ever ask for through the twisty bits. That McLaren is just so fast at the top end there, but Verstappen, I might have been wrong about the straight line speed of that Red Bull. Qualifying, it looked a little bit sheepish, did Red Bull, but come race day, Max Verstappen is certainly doing everything you'd expect Max Verstappen to do there, as he actually gets a really nice run out the final corner. We get a warning for track limits there, so we're going to have to be careful with that, as here comes Max Verstappen back down towards turn 1, and nothing we can do. But not a fan of that big squeeze there, a bit like what he did to Bottas a couple of years ago here in the GP.
Might make a mistake, he can still regain the position.
Nicholas Latifi's out of the Grand Prix. Don't think I'm going to lose too much sleep over that, but Max Verstappen clearly stating his intent here early on in the GP. Guess what we're going to have to try and do then is use Verstappen for some DRS and some slipstream here and see if he can close up to Danny Rick for the pair of us. My original plan actually was just to try and let Danny Rick run away in this one, so that meant even if Verstappen did beat us, it was unlikely he was going to be able to get the full haul of points. But yeah, maybe now he can try and drag us up towards the Australian here.
Caution.
There is that Stricken Williams on the outside of the final corner. But yeah, I mean, we have definitely got still good top-end speed as we gain in on Verstappen again. This time around, he's going to go defensive there, so we're going to force him right over towards the inside. Oh, cutting in front of the Red Bull there, and I wasn't actually ever intending to go for a move in that situation. If I wanted to work with Verstappen, I definitely haven't made my feelings clear as we head up back through Curva Grande. Yeah, a bit of a, I mean, certainly I think Verstappen and I are both getting mighty aggressive together today, as again we almost get squeezed off the road. This could be where tempers fly.
Check your MFD for a new strategy option.
Team already recommending new strats. They're saying lap 13. Don't really want to extend this soft stint any further in this GP, just because I'm a little bit worried about getting undercut. But yeah, we need to see Verstappen start closing the gap to Danny Rick. Otherwise, by the time the pit stops come round, I'm going to have to try and get back ahead of him. Team already starting to get a little bit worried about tyre wear here pretty early on in the day. But Verstappen is definitely bringing us back towards Ricciardo as we head out of the final corner. Yeah, whether it's worth just trying to use Verstappen to get to Ricciardo and then hopefully let Ricciardo finish between us. I have not done that in a while. I love pressing the wrong buttons on my wheel so it decalibrates. Well done, Matt. That is a real throwback to what I used to do. We'll be back soon. I must also admit, it's a very, very strange feeling, you know. We've spent so much time, not only this season, but of course last season as well, duking it out with Max Verstappen, that now, you know, racing with him and deliberately not trying to go for a move, my heart is telling me just overtake him, but my brain is saying no, it's not worth it at this stage of the day. See how much we gain on the run back down towards someone though. Verstappen this time around goes defensive. My heart's telling me go for it. And we're going to this time clean around the outside again in towards someone there. But again, a big lock-up. There's actually Bottas snuck his way through on the Red Bull that time around. They're going to drag race at the first few corners, but Ricciardo, from that, basically gains a second immediately, so perhaps I'm just going to have to keep trying to do this, so that way Verstappen definitely can't win today. Do not want to do that, though. That curb now is lethal, as we just cut over the chicane ever so slightly. Verstappen does hold on ahead of Bottas, though, and we've, yeah, just now in a bit of no man's land, but it won't be long before Verstappen closes back up.
Okay, clear.
Oh, we got yellow flags out. One of the Mercs has gone round. Don't know which one that is. We got a safety car.
Out. We need you to reduce your pace. It looks like there's a high amount of debris on the track.
Definitely means we're going to pit now, though.
On the MFD.
Yeah, we are going to box now then in this Grand Prix, but yeah, not too sure which Merc's gone around there, but pretty easy. We've seen it many times before. The AI just looping it there, so Bottas is probably going to lose out a bit from this. Gasly might lose out a bit from this as well there, as McLaren have gone hards. We're going mediums in this GP. Definitely don't think the hards are the way to go, but we did have front wing damage, and I completely forgot to even consider changing it in this GP, so where are we going to re-emerge then in this GP? We're going to come back out down in P7, but Gasly as well, of course, has been screwed by that. I wish.
Look after these tyres now. We want to finish the race on this compound.
Well, at least that explains a little bit of why we were lacking pace here, but that has completely screwed Pierre as well in this GP, which we don't need in the Constructors' Championship. We've been given a bit of a lifeline, of course, after Perez for the second race in a row had issues on the first lap, but yeah, back down now to P7. Verstappen now with an easy look at Ricciardo. This race has just been turned on its head. We need to try and fight back and recover later on. Right, well, as we near the halfway stage then of the Italian Grand Prix, Daniel Ricciardo is going to lead the field away there after a rather short safety car period in this GP. But fresh front wing on the car hopefully will give us a little bit of extra pace. However, we have taken a gamble on the tyres there. Everyone in front of us is on hards. I'm pretty certain every other car in this Grand Prix is on hards, but I think the mediums can definitely make it to the end and should be a slightly faster race tyre as well there. So we're going to try and time the safety car out of the final corner, or time Daniel Ricciardo even, I should say. So we get ready to go green flag racing once again here in Monza, and looks like we've actually done that. Straight to the outside of Lando Norris. Are we going to be able to chop back underneath? Oh, Lando's got a little bit of extra top end speed. There we go, dart one way, we dart the other. Lando had other ideas though. He's going to have a look up the inside of Charles Leclerc. That was always going to be optimistic from myself there. But nothing gained, nothing lost out of that one. Apologies to Charles, but what a move by Lando Norris there, overtaking two cars down at turn one. But we need desperately to try and get through.
But remember, we need to get to the end of the race on these tyres.
Hoping we haven't picked up front wing damage again from that one. I don't think we have. Best test is through the Lesmos. Car feels like it's got a little bit more bite. But yeah, we need to try and carve our way back through here. First up then, Charles Leclerc now. Yeah, once the DRS gets re-enabled in this Grand Prix, things are going to get very, very spicy very, very quickly. Because now everyone inside this top 7 are all nose to tail here. Got Esteban Ocon and Jack Aitken both desperately want points for their teams this weekend after they, I think, yeah, Alfa Romeo definitely scored points last time around. Don't know if Aston Martin did though, off the top of my head. But yeah, they definitely need to try and have a good turnout here. Williams now, of course, down to 9th once more in the Constructors' Championship. Just Alpine and Haas though that haven't scored points at this stage of the campaign. Those who run horribly wide on the exit of Ascari. They're trying to just about keep it between the white lines, but Verstappen is applying the pressure to Daniel Ricciardo. We need to be doing the same to Charles Leclerc and these whole host of other cars that are between us still, with 14 laps to go. Now 13 laps to go.
The stewards have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online.
Oh, I'm really trying to turn up the wick now as we get the DRS re-enabled in this GP. Verstappen is practically pushing Ricciardo along at the front of the field, and that's the little bit of motivation that I need. Still only 8 points between us in this Drivers' Championship. Can we get a good run out the final corner and close the gap to Charles Leclerc? That Ferrari no slouch down the straights either, and I think we're just a bit too far back at the moment. Unless, of course, Leclerc breaks early, which, to be honest, he did. We perhaps could have thought about it then in towards someone. There's Verstappen now makes a power move towards the outside of Daniel Ricciardo. He'll have the inside through Curva Grande here, and I think Verstappen has pulled the move off for the lead of this Italian GP there. Ricciardo has to slot into P2, and from 6th on the grid, Verstappen now leads. We went from 2nd on the grid, and we're still stuck down in 7th. Oh, how quickly things can change in the world of Formula 1. We need to make moves. Got a really, really nice run out of Ascari this time round. We might be all over the back of Charles Leclerc before we even get in towards the final corner here. Up the inside we go, into the Alboreto curve there, but Charles Leclerc having none of that. Super confident on the brakes. He knows he's got far less to lose and far more to gain here this weekend than I do. We've got a title fight on the line. Charles Leclerc is just after good solid points each week in and a week out there as he goes defensive on the run back down towards turn 1. Oh, Tsunoda though breaking early. Oh! Both Leclerc and I make the move work on Yuki Tsunoda there, but how we avoided contact with the back of Lando Norris just in front, I have got no idea there. Thread the needle down the middle. That is probably the greatest overtake I'll make on F1 2021 there, as we try now not to screw these tyres. But we've got to try and get inside the DRS range now of Lando Norris. But that, I hope, has given me the confidence that we need to really fight towards the end of this one as Charles Leclerc try to have a look back at the inside. Look at that. We have still picked up the DRS, though, from Lando Norris in front. If we hadn't done that, I think the battle towards the front would be over for us. But if we can stay in the range and hopefully close up, the battle for the win is definitely still on. 10 laps to go here from Monza. About to start lap 20 then of the Italian GP and getting all over the back of Lando Norris. Just getting the sense he's hanging on to Valtteri Bottas and Daniel Ricciardo just in front of him there, as Verstappen just trying to stretch his legs at the front of the field, but we need to go for another move.
Teammate behind is 11.8 seconds.
Gasly really has had no luck today at all, but up the inside of Lando Norris we go there. He tries to cover off the inside, and not having any of that, thank you very much, Lando. Not too sure if there was, a little bit of a resentment from last season in that late defensive block, but we got the car slowed down. We make sure we stay in the range of the cars in front there as we've got more yellow flags out. That's Callum Ilott, so both Williams fall into the wayside here in the Italian GP. Saying that is, Latifi, I think, still is in Williams. I can't keep up with this career mode in the Williams RTG. Now all the driver transfers have got a bit all over the show. I'm pretty certain that is both Williams out of the Grand Prix there, as that time round we didn't get the DRS though off Valtteri Bottas, so we need to really push still with 7 and a bit laps to go. Lap 22 then of this GP, nicely nestled now back inside the DRS range of Valtteri Bottas. I can't help but feel he's struggling to match the pace of his teammate, and more importantly, I think both of them are struggling to match the pace of Max Verstappen. So we head out of Ascari there, got a really nice line through there that time around, and we're going to be really, really close to the fin as we head down in towards the final corner. But don't want to commit to a move there. We'd rather try and get the drive out of this final turn and make a nice simple move back down in towards turn 1. We're having to piece together every single move in this GP as there were yellow flags out in Ascari. Seems like they're all sorted as Bottas again is going to go defensive on me in towards turn 1. But we'll go clean around the outside of the fin there. Supreme confidence under braking. And now just one car separates myself and Verstappen. That is Daniel Ricciardo, who led so much early on of this GP, but 5 laps to go. If he was willing to put more of a fight up against Max, maybe I'd let him continue at it. But at the moment, we've got to try and make the moves. Are we about to see some deja vu here? 4 laps to go of this GP. We made a move work on Valtteri 1 lap ago. Are we going to be able to pull off a similar thing on Daniel Ricciardo here? Looks like he's saving a bit more battery at the final corner than his teammate ever did, but both of us going to get the DRS.
There's a gap beginning to form.
Look at this gaining on Daniel Ricciardo. Oh, he looks for a move on Verstappen, but we look for a move on him at exactly the same time there. And fair play to Ricciardo. Appreciated the move was coming and did in the end sort of jump out the way there. Don't think he wants to get involved too much in this championship fight. But now, yeah, 4 laps to go here from the Italian GP. We have sliced and diced our way back through from 7th up to P2 where we started. But Max Verstappen still leads the way, and we need to make sure we stay in the range so we can attack in these last few laps. I literally said last weekend we don't tend to have many on-track battles with Max Verstappen, but it looks like we might get 2 in a row here as we start. 3 laps to go now of this GP. Still within the range, but we just need to try and time this one. Racing at Monza is such a strategic game on F1 2021. You don't want to make the move too soon, because of course Max can come straight back at you. However, these tyres starting just to struggle a little bit more with grip as well. And of course, yeah, both McLaren just waiting in the wings if it goes wrong between us. 2 laps to go then here from the Italian GP, and we are definitely now within range. We could make something work on Max Verstappen as we head down in towards turn 1, but I don't think it's worth doing. We're going to have to take a massive gamble here and just hold back for one more lap here. You can see gaining. Actually, on the Red Bull, he's a lot slower than I ever anticipated down in towards turn 1, but we'll slot back in for now and make sure we stay right under his gearbox, ready for the final lap of this Italian GP. We have to be decisive with the move, but like I said, we can't do it too soon. Otherwise, the Dutchman will just come back at me, and perhaps he knows that. Perhaps it's why he wasn't so quick in towards turn 1 there. He might just be waiting to use everything on the final lap. Need to get a good run out of Ascari here as we set ourselves up for the final lap of this Italian Grand Prix there. Will Verstappen head in towards Cota, tied on points, or will we head in with a 14-point lead in the championship? We are about to find out as we start the last lap of the Italian GP here. Try and get a good run out of the final corner. Use that little bit of extra battery that I've saved to slingshot ourselves up towards the line there. But look at Verstappen romping away. We're going to have the DRS now, and suddenly that Honda logo is going to get a whole lot bigger. As we head back down towards someone here, Verstappen goes defensive. We go super late on the brakes there, around the outside of the Dutchman. He gives us the room there, and we make the move work up into the lead for the first time today on the final lap here from Monza. But it isn't over just yet. Verstappen, of course, is going to get another big chance down in towards Ascari here, and he might even look to make moves sooner than that. If he gets any sort of opportunity, we just now cannot afford to take any risks through this middle sector there, and this is historically where that Red Bull has been super strong there. Just glide the car through the Lesmos, and what a weird and wonderful race it has been today so far. They're basically going to have to use all of the battery now, though, as we head down in towards Ascari for the final time. But look at this Verstappen. He's coming back at me here. We have to go defensive, force him to the outside there. The Dutchman pretty even on the brakes in towards Ascari, but runs himself out far too deep on the entry there. It was a last-ditch attempt from Max Verstappen. He's still going to come back at me, though, in towards the final corners. We've got both McLarens pushing each other along as well. Final corner of the Italian GP there, but we have played it to perfection today, and we're going to come through. We've had very little luck here before, but finally we win the Italian Grand Prix.
Great drive. We did it. Good job.
They made great use of the clear air today then and didn't allow anyone to exploit the slipstream behind them. What a great win here at Monza. Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today. What set them apart from the rest?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
Here comes your top 3 making their way down to the podium for what can only be described as a fantastic day for Formula One. Mr. Monaco increases their championship lead. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
Max Verstappen seemed to just effortlessly weave through the other drivers today without a care in the world. He was definitely my driver of choice.
Let's move on to the constructors. The current leaders continue to extend their lead at the top. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, there we are then, guys, the end of the Italian Grand Prix there, and somehow, on the very last lap, we snatch victory away from Max Verstappen there. He does take fastest lap though, which means we only pull out 6 points in the championship there, but 0.3 of a second between us. Just 0.8 of a second separating the top 4 there. Bottas will walk away with no silverware from this weekend, but Ricciardo from pole. McLaren did pretty good today, but I think, yeah, they were never really going to be able to challenge the top 2 teams in the sport at the moment. They're a bit like McLaren did on a couple of occasions last year there. But Tsunoda in 5th ahead of Lando, and both Ferraris there 7th and 8th ahead of Pierre Gasly, and then Stroll recovered to score a solitary point for Mercedes. Red Bull of Sergio Perez down in P12. They had a torrid day out in the end on the 2-stop strategy, and then you can see, yeah, it was both Williams that didn't make it to the checkered flag there. Does mean championship-wise, we head into the final 4 races now with 14 points, the gap between myself and Max Verstappen there. It is all still to play for, though, in the dying stages of this campaign. Daniel Ricciardo jumps Lando Norris and Jack Aitken, though, further down the order in the championship. And then Mick Schumacher re-jumps Robert Schwartzman in their battle for best of the rest. Constructors-wise, though, we've still got an 11-point lead at the top of the championship, but Ferrari and maybe McLaren might be able to get close to Mercedes before the season comes to an end there. Just Alpine and Haas yet that are still haven't scored points, though, at this stage of the year. But 4 races to go of Season 6 of our F1 2021 My Team Career Mode. 14 points, the gap between myself and Max Verstappen. We've got to keep pushing. We head to Kota next time out. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, a massive thank you to all of you as well for 40,000 subscribers. If you're not already, please, though, do make sure you get yourself subscribed for more Formula 1 content. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.